The Al-Shifa hospital bearing the latest brunt of fighting in Gaza as Israeli forces dial up the pressure on Hamas. The IDF says that it has killed around 90 gunmen and arrested 160 people as part of its latest raid on the medical facility, one of the few healthcare centres still operating in the north. The military claims to have eliminated terrorists and weapons in the area. This latest raid began on Monday when Israeli forces said that the hospital was again being used by militants, a claim that both Hamas and medical staff have denied. Aid agencies have been sounding the alarm over the severe shortage of medical supplies across Gaza, a crisis that is set to worsen as concerns over famine grow. The UN has been urging Israel to allow aid into the territory, warning that failure to do so could amount to a war crime. As the situation on the ground grows more dire, diplomatic efforts to secure a ceasefire, will they continue? US Secretary of State Antony Blinken is returning to the Middle East today for his 6th visit since the start of this war. He will meet leaders in Saudi Arabia and Egypt to discuss truce efforts, aid and post-war arrangements for Gaza. For more, Sarah Coates joins us. She's live for us from Tel Aviv. Sarah, what do we know about the fate of civilians who are sheltering at the Al-Shifa hospital?
Hello, Dawn. According to witnesses on the ground, there were some 3,000 internally displaced Palestinians sheltering at the Al-Shifa hospital when this raid began early Monday morning. People have been detailing how they were taken into custody for hours. They were questioned. They were asked to take their clothes off before being told to move further down into the southern areas of the Gaza Strip. Now, it's also important to add that the military has released an operational update saying that since this raid on the Al-Shifa began, that some 90 Hamas operatives have been killed. A further 300 people have been arrested, while another 160 have been taken into custody and brought back here to Israel. There have also been pictures circulating on Hebrew media showing many men in the back of trucks. They are blindfolded and they are wearing white suits, presumably being brought back here to Israel. Now, the Israeli military says it's operating in a precise manner and that it's protecting hospital staff, patients and also equipment at this hospital, saying that it has credible intelligence that Hamas operatives have been operating from inside that facility, although at this hour it has not given any information to actually back up these claims. And Dawn, it's also important to add that under international law, hospitals are protected, especially during times of war. But that then becomes void if it is found that the enemy is launching attacks from that medical facility.
Sarah, meantime, Israel's defence chief is set to visit Washington in the coming week. Is there a chance at all that those talks might persuade Tel Aviv to call off what is being seen as a controversial Rafah offensive?
Well, not if it comes down to the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. He told lawmakers late last night that he is determined to carry out this operation down into that southernmost city of Rafah, saying that he made it supremely clear to the US President Joe Biden during that phone call that they had on Monday. We do need to add, though, of course, that Washington has since summoned an Israeli delegation to come to the United States. They're expected to get there early next week to discuss these potential alternate plans for Rafah, given that this is an area where some 1.3 million internally displaced people have been sheltering, and an area that there have not been any plans given by Israel to the US as to where these people should go if this raid on Rafah is actually launched. It's also an area that the Israeli military claims that is the last Hamas stronghold, an area that the IDF says that there are Hamas militants, head Hamas leaders hiding underground in these tunnels, potentially surrounded by some of these Israeli captives. But this is certainly something that we can expect the US Secretary of State Antony Blinken to be discussing when he arrives here in the Middle East a little later today. His first stop, Saudi. He'll then go to Egypt, and it is being reported now that he will come to Israel. So certainly is expected to discuss his potential operation in Rafah. Dawn.
All right, Sarah, thank you for that update. Sarah Coates there reporting live for us from Tel Aviv.